Today on Game Talk Live, we're taking a look at an upcoming sports game that is more fantasy than football. Plus, the NFL's push to stream games on Twitch makes the death of traditional TV even more imminent. Let's kick it off. I'm Andy Roman, and welcome to Game Talk Live, where we discuss the biggest video game news of the day, live with help from our chat audience. Joining me now are three expert guests to discuss these gaming topics and more. First up is FlemLo. FlemLo Raps is a YouTuber with over 180,000 subscribers who tells stories of extraordinary people who happen to play football. Welcome to the show.
What's going on, Mandy? Glad to be here.
Thanks for being here. Also joining us today is Devon Lloyd, a sports journalist who covers both the NBA and NFL and has been featured on sites such as Fansided, SB Nation, and Sports Illustrated. He also is a sports gamer and posts sports gaming videos on his YouTube channel, Lloyd TV. Hi, Devon.
Hi, thanks for having me.
And also joining us today is Brian Mazique, a sports writer with a concentration on boxing, MMA, and sports video games. Hi, Brian.
Hey, how you doing today? Thanks for having me.
All right, guys, let's hop right into our first topic. It was recently announced that developer Immaculate Vision Gaming will attempt to revive college football games with Gridiron Champions, a title that is solely composed of made-up teams filled with made-up players. This game has come about because the NCAA has had legal disputes in the past over the use of amateur players' likenesses in football video games. Before we dive too deep, tell us briefly what the NCAA amateurism rules are. Devon, would you mind explaining?
Absolutely. Well, the NCAA, they won't allow players, since they're considered amateurs and not professionals, they won't allow players to accept any money of any kind from third parties. So companies like EA, any type of company that wants to pay these players, if they actually give them money and the players receive any type of financial money at all, they are ineligible to participate in any type of college athletics.
Brian, do you feel that the NCAA's amateurism rules are made to protect players and keep them focused on academics, or is it simply a way of funneling all the profits back into the organization?
No, it's more it's more akin to pimp and prostitute type of a relationship, to be honest. That's exactly what it is. I mean, you know, the universities collect ridiculous amounts of money on the backs of these athletes, college athletes, and they're not allowed to get paid for it. And a lot of, you know, people who are proponents of the current system will say things like, well, they're getting a paid scholarship, or they're getting a paid education. Well, the fact of the matter is, and the truth of the thing is that some of these athletes, they major in their sport, and college is designed for you to further your career. And that's exactly what they're doing by coming there to hone their skills. So you ever have somebody offer you something in a trade of no value or of little value, and they're trying to trump up the value of it to you to make the unfair swap seem fair? That's essentially what it is.
Yeah, kind of like how maybe an influencer makes a post, but they're not actually receiving any monetary value, it's just exposure for a brand, kind of something like that. FlemLo, what are your thoughts here? Do you feel that these rules are made to protect players, or is it, like Brian said, kind of a pimp and hoe type of situation?
Yeah, I mean, it's 100%. The way that Brian described it. Essentially, just the NCAA trying to keep all of the money in-house. I think they fear that once they open that door and allow players to be paid for their likeness, that may actually lead into some other things with them having to share some of maybe the TV money or some of the other revenue. So they want to keep a tight lid on that. They got the amateurism rules have been in place for so long, they really don't want to budge on them at all.
So is there any appeal in a football-branded video game where teams aren't composed of real-life professional football players? Devon?
I think there is. I think you're always going to have that drawback of a lot of players wanting the authentic game. They want the real schools. They want the real pageantry. They want the traditions, all that real stuff there. But at the core of it, a lot of people just really love the college game, especially more than, you know, the NFL and professional level. They like the recruiting aspects. They like the college feel. I do think it'll be tough without having the true licenses there, but the foundation of being able to still play out that college vibe and still recruit, which is a huge part of college sports, I think there's still an audience that will be there for a game like that.
Brian, what do you think? Is there any appeal in a football game without actual brands?
Absolutely, but here's the thing. They must temper their expectations. They can't come out with this project and expect to compete with EA, expect to compete with these larger brands. What their definition of success has to be to cultivate a cult following, right? So they need to get people who are willing to create this content, because they're going to have a background interface that allows you to recreate rosters. So obviously everyone knows people are going to go in and they're going to create the Michigans, they're going to create Notre Dames, they're going to create the rosters that match, and they're going to facilitate something that allows you to update your rosters every year. Now, ultimately, that's going to come to a head, right? And it's going to get the attention of the EAs and the 2Ks of the world. It would not shock me if Gridiron Champions is totally open to being bought out once they get to a point where they have, one, accomplished their goal of bringing back college football, and then they've also put themselves in a position to cash in on their concept. So as long as the expectations are tempered, there's no reason why this can't be a complete success.
FlemLo, would you spend money on this title if it meant there were no actual colleges behind it or actual players that you knew?
100%. Like Devon said, a big part of the college video games that kind of separate them from Madden is the recruiting and the team building aspect of it. And even when you start a dynasty with the actual rosters, within about 2 to 3 years, you got all new players anyway. Every year I drop and multiple YouTubers will drop like an updated roster video where guys are coming out and they're looking for the updated rosters to put into the game. So I think it's 100% gonna work. There's guys who already create these rosters, so there's definitely a market for it. And the dynasty crowd is gonna be 100% happy with, I think, that type of product. I think it'll work.
Mm-hmm. So Devon, so Brian mentioned something where Gridiron Champions could likely maybe sell this concept to someone, maybe to the NCAA directly, or someone that has the license to actually get the likenesses into the game. I mean, do you think that Gridiron Champions is supposed to serve as some sort of proof of concept that this can work?
I think right now they will have to. I think a lot of companies are still cautious after the lawsuit as to how they exactly want to move forward with it. And then they also think about the last time a big company, which was 2K Sports, they made a game called All Pro Football 2K8. And they didn't have the actual NFL license, because at the time, Madden and EA, they had the exclusive rights and the license for NFL. So they put out the game, and it was already a reputable company, which is 2K, and it was developed by Visual Concepts, but they didn't have the actual teams. So when you only had the, made up fiction teams, and you had NFL legends, so you did have some NFL players there, but you didn't have the NFL branding behind it. The sales were pretty disappointing for 2K. So I think a lot of companies really want to see another company come out first and see if you can get it to work, and if people can get behind it and accept it as a good game. And if they do, and the sales look okay, then definitely I do see a company coming out and either trying to acquire the license or buy out Gridiron Champions.
Yep. So by creating these generic rosters, teams, and stadiums, but allowing deep customization in the game, is Immaculate Visions essentially telling the player, we can't legally use their likenesses, but feel free to go ahead and create whichever real-world players you like. Brian, you're kind of nodding your head. Do you agree?
Yeah, that's exactly the part of the plan. Right now, we're in a world where a lot of our entertainment and a lot of the technology that we use is crowdsourced. That's why we have open source operating systems for our cell phones, open source operating systems for our PCs and laptops. Now we're at a point where open source platforms for video games are a big deal. It can help the actual developer save time and money chasing licenses that they don't necessarily have to chase, but your legal team has to be in tow. Your legal team has to have everything intact. They have to know what the boundaries are, what they can and cannot do. I actually create custom rosters for NBA 2K, and my whole objective is to plug in the areas where 2K misses. So 2K doesn't have a license with Reggie Miller, Charles Barkley, Rasheed Wallace. Those are the three guys that everybody mostly wants most of the time. A little bit of Gilbert Arenas here and there. So at one point they didn't have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. and I created him. And someone from 2K mentioned to me, they was like, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, people, they saw this and they were like, how did you get Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in the game? And my creation was decent enough where they thought it was, but ultimately there was nothing that could really be done because it was done by user. So that's what Gridiron Champions is going to be banking on. And we'll have to wait and see whether or not someone challenges that, and then it goes to court, and then now there's something that changes that as well. But for right now, they can make a mark.
Yeah. FlemLo, do you want to add something?
I agree with him. I mean, from what I understand, as long as the game is shipped with the generic rosters, I believe they'll be safe from any type of legal ramifications as long as any actual rosters that are put in the game are user generated. And the mod community, like I said, they'll have a good time with that.
So Gridiron Champions was initially a Kickstarter campaign in 2016 with an asking goal of $850,000, but only raised $10,218 from 151 backers. So isn't this proof against the concept? I know all three of you said that you are for this idea, but if the general public is not putting their actual dollars toward the backing of this title, doesn't this tell us that maybe this isn't the best idea, Devon?
Well, I think for us three, we're huge college football gamers. We're going to play the game. We're the ones creating the rosters, downloading the rosters. So we're that avid fan base that's, of course, going to give a lot of these games a chance. I do think, like I said earlier, the challenge is getting your casual gamers really to jump on board with this. And I think that's definitely going to be the tough aspect of it because you don't have the licensing, you don't have the real players, you don't have any of those fundamentals that you could help sell a game and push a game. I think for them, the biggest obstacle in the way is to really get the excitement ready for it, get other influencers, get backers to really want another game like this. So I do think it's a challenge. And like I said, it hasn't really been done successfully in the past. So I do agree with Brian, your expectations do have to be a little bit lower than if you were a major game with the licenses already intact. But I do think over time, especially since we haven't had a game since 2013, I think there will be people who are at least watching, even if they don't buy right away. They want to watch. They want to see exactly how things turn out. They want to see if they maybe try to get the license later down the road or just how the game plays. And if people are giving it a good word and has great reviews, I think they'll eventually jump on board with it.
Brian, do you agree? I mean, do you think they could go back in and maybe do this Kickstarter again or get outside investors?
Well, you know what one thing they have to do, one obstacle that they will be dealing with is that even if somebody creates, right, a awesome version of Notre Dame, awesome version of Miami, Florida, recreates the jerseys, the stadium, the rosters impeccably, right? Gridiron Champions and whomever is the publisher or developer for that game can't actually advertise that image or those images. But what they can do is they can allow YouTubers like FlemLo, like myself, like Lloyd, they can allow us to basically put videos out that are showing all of these recreated stadiums. Because here's the thing, most gamers are what I would call lazy fans, right? They're not going to look deep into finding out all of the different things you can do with a game. That's where the YouTube community comes in. A lot of times, YouTubers are the group of people that show the vast majority of people everything you can do with the game, because a lot of times they just don't know. So strategically, if it's planned and put into the right places, they can get essentially free advertising from the hardcore fans who can then influence the casuals.
The epitome of influencer. I love that definition, Brian. That was great. So it's time to take a quick break. But before we do, I want to ask our viewers to leave a comment or send us a tweet at Game Talk Live, letting us know what topics you'd like to see us discuss on the show. We'll be right back.
We have 75 players in here. Let me hear you make some noise.
Hi, my name's Todd. We're going to be playing some H1Z1, and a lot of you out there are going to be able to win some prizes by guessing when our guests die. Sasha, are you ready to go play some H1Z1?
Let's do this.
I think we've seen this story before.
We got a lot of guests tonight from all over the world. They're competing for a trophy, our Champion of the Night prize. Which one of you is going to be the best player tonight?
Anybody that comes in my way is done.
Get a helmet, get a backpack, get a rifle.
Kill everyone.
Kill that person.
Engage.
Kill. Oh my God!
I give the people what they want to see.
Oh my God!
Oh wow, he took a big hit. He got it, guys!
Can you throw me in like the Norwegian server or like someplace where they're just not gonna find me?
No.
Did I die first?
No one's died that early in the game ever.
Welcome back, everybody. The NFL has renewed their streaming deal for a second year with Amazon, bringing more professional football games to Twitch. Is the move to Twitch intended to bring in a new audience? Are more traditionally cable-focused networks and events looking to Twitch for younger eyeballs? FlemLo, what do you got?
Absolutely. I think everything is kind of moving to digital, and as a pretty big NFL fan myself, I'm excited that they're going to be having this on Twitch. I mean, it's super easy for us to hop on, party up with some of my partners in a different state, and be able to watch the content on Twitch. Not to mention, a lot of the younger crowd, we don't even have cable anyway. So the only thing we were missing before was these NFL games, and it seems like the NFL is kind of jumping on that.
Are you more inclined to watch football on Twitch than you would be on TV?
Yeah, I don't have cable, so absolutely.
There you go. That answers that. So I mean, you're talking about bringing friends together and watching, that live in different locations, watching football together. Is the social nature of Twitch and being able to live comment with other viewers key to community building for the NFL? Devon, what do you got?
Absolutely. I remember on the 360, I know it's not football, but they had the feature with Netflix where you could watch movies live with your friends in the party. And I did that all the time. My friends were right next to me, and we would literally just stay at our own house and do it. And also on Twitch, you have like the community environment. You're talking to other people. So if you're alone, you're not really ever alone. You're talking with hundreds of other people, sometimes thousands of other people at the same time. And then what they also do by going to Twitch is you get a younger audience. At the end of the day, a lot of, the younger people is what's going to shape the industry of TV and traditional media. And I think a lot of it is shifting to, convenience, being able to stream it on the go, stream it wherever you are in the house. You don't have to be at the couch at 7 o'clock to watch this one thing. You could be anywhere and you could be able to watch it. I think it's going to help move the new media, what I call it, which is going to be, Twitch, YouTube, things like that. And it's also going to influence young potential football players because they're on Twitch already. They're watching games, they're watching things like that. They see football, they might be more inclined to actually pick up some pads and go play football, and that might also lead to a career for them too.
So can pro sports coexist on platforms like Twitch and traditional broadcast stations? Will we see one maybe favored over the other, Brian?
I definitely think that you will see OTT content favored over the others, especially for the younger generation. And I think Lloyd made a really good point, right? And he was talking about influencing younger people to play football. We got to remember, right now there's an initiative going on that is actually discouraging young people from playing football because of the risk of head injuries. So this is in keeping with the times and technology, but also don't put it past the NFL to be positioning themselves in front of the demographic that they could be theoretically losing because of the nature of their sport by putting their content on Twitch. So, hey, I'm going to, bump out Fortnite a little bit, and I'm going to, elbow out PUBG, and here's some football, for you to watch and for you to get inspired by as well. So I think it's definitely a dual purpose thing and a smart move from a business standpoint on the NFL, on the NFL side.
Sure. Are organizations like the NFL going to take Twitch seriously, or do you just think this is maybe just an afterthought, just another, funnel, if you will, to put football content? FlemLo?
Maybe initially they were thinking that way, but if you look at it now, I mean, with the recent thing with Drake and Ninja on Twitch, I think more traditional media is paying attention, not to mention pretty much not every, but a lot of NFL players have YouTube channels. They have Twitch channels. They're streaming constantly. They're dropping videos. So everybody wants like a piece of real estate online. And so I think the NFL is definitely going to take it serious.
Devon, do you see them moving to any platform exclusive content on Twitch?
I don't think there'll be any right now. From the NFL and just the way they kind of did things in the past, they are really relying on traditional media. I think they're a little slower behind the ball, especially when it comes to other professional leagues like the NBA per se, who is really out there and they're really leading everybody else when it comes to modern media. But I think over time, if Twitch keeps working out for them, which it did last year, looking forward to it this year. If it keeps working out for them, I definitely do see them making exclusive content and doing exclusive deals with a company like Twitch or another company, maybe YouTube.
Brian, what do you think some of that exclusive content might look like? Do you have any ideas around that?
I kind of agree with Lloyd. I don't know about exclusive content. We do know that what Twitch is they're going to have Thursday Night NFL, which is a primetime spot, but it is the least popular of their primetime spots. So in keeping with like what Lloyd was saying, they're traditional and slow to move and ultra conservative type of operations that they have generally used. They're putting a little bit out there at a time. Okay, so we'll give you Thursday nights. It's 11 games. You know, the ratings for our Thursday night games kind of waver here and there. A strong power move that shows you that they were super serious about it is saying, okay, we're going to split up Monday Night Football between ESPN and ABC, and we're going to give half of that schedule to Twitch. That would be a huge, oh my God, kind of move. Thursday night is somewhat significant, but you know, it's still, I think, cautious.
So with viewing metrics more easily available in real time compared to, say, traditional television ratings, as well as Twitch being free, is it likely we could see more sports teams utilizing the platform? FlemLo?
More sports teams in
or
general?
Just organizations? Yeah, could you see other sports coming to Twitch?
Yeah, I think Twitch is going to continue to grow. I think they're doing a good job of crossing over and getting more celebrities. And the more celebrities they get, the more the traditional media is going to come over and they're going to want a part of it. So, yeah, I think so.
Do you mean celebrities like Drake playing with Ninja?
You got Drake, Drake, and you got Ben Simmons, you got different people streaming on Twitch, a lot of them.
So with so many traditional sports organizations having a stake in esports, might we see more cross-pollination between the two audiences? Devon, what do you think?
Absolutely. I think 2K they're the first ones. They're testing the water with the NBA 2K League. I think other companies and sports organizations are definitely going to look closely and see if they want to jump on board or not. Even the rest of the NBA teams, I believe right now 2K only has 17 of the 30 teams actually on board with the NBA 2K League. If that is successful, I could definitely see them trying to merge it. Because like I was saying earlier, you need to get the young kids who are your future players, your future audience. You need to get them involved. Video games is a great bridge to your sport. It welcomes a lot of people to the sport. Me, myself, I played Madden as a little kid. Then I ended up playing, in high school and then in college. So it's a great bridge for that aspect. So I do think they're going to try to position themselves, like Brian was saying, to target a lot of gamers, a lot of young people, and try to introduce them to the sport where they can develop that passion and that love for the game. So I do see that happening in the future.
Brian, where do you see esports and maybe traditional sports kind of colliding on Twitch?
I think there's definitely room for it. Like FlemLo was saying and Lloyd, the NBA is doing a really good job with that. Adam Silver called the NBA 2K League the NBA's fourth league. So he's aligning it with the WNBA, with the G League, with the traditional NBA. So he's already doing that, and they're already smart enough to do that. The NFL is somewhat bringing in Madden in that way, but there's still a little bit of a slow progress to that. But I do think that it's something ultimately that just is going to happen. If it's not Twitch, there's going to be something that allows fans to be interactive. That's the thing that Twitch and these other online platforms provide. It gives fans an opportunity to participate And nowadays, that's what the fans want. That just those days of sitting on the couch and you just watch and you just hear whatever the announcer says and you just watch what the players do. That's done. People want to participate. If they just saw a play they didn't like, they want to click something that says that was a stupid call. Why would he call that on, inside the 5-yard line? 75% of the people said that was a stupid call by the Seahawks. They should have gave it to Marshawn Lynch. They want that kind of a thing. So Twitch provides that opportunity, and other platforms like it does as well.
So the Golden State Warriors NBA team owned the League of Legends NALCS team, the Golden Guardians. Will these team involvements lead sports fans to esports? FlemLo?
That one I think is going to be a little bit tougher of a transition. I mean, if you're not already a gamer, the only way I really, you know what? Actually, yeah, I think it will. Because the more like popular something becomes, people like to associate themselves with it. So even if they're not traditional gamers, they'll come over. We see that a lot. We're seeing that a lot in Fortnite right now. So yeah, I think so.
Yep. Devon, what do you think? I mean,
yeah.
Go ahead.
I completely agree. Just to add on what FlemLo was saying, Fortnite is a game that is really opening the eyes. You get a lot of sports gamers traditionally on YouTube who post nothing but sports content. They're all starting to kind of migrate over to Fortnite because that's now the new trend. Everybody's kind of playing it. I do think having that heavy influence and the power of the influencer is absolutely huge. So a team like the Golden State Warriors, if you're a fan of them, you see they're affiliated, you'll at least give it a shot. Even if it doesn't catch you, you'll give it an opportunity to see if you do like it, which I do think it also add viewership, and I do think it'll be able to kind of merge and add some more viewers to that product.
All right, guys, we are coming to the end of our show. I want to thank all of our viewers and our guests for being here. Tell us what you're currently working on and where people can find you online, starting with FlemLo.
You can find me youtube.com/FlemLoRaps. We're basically telling stories of extraordinary people happen to play sports and just kind of finding what you can relate to and what you can learn from their stories and their grind and kind of how they got to where they're going.
Fantastic. All right, Devon, what are you currently working on and where can people find you online?
Absolutely. You can follow me at Lloyd TV on Twitter as well as on YouTube. I also have another channel, Lloyd NBA, where I specifically talk about NBA. A Lloyd TV channel talk about all sports and all gaming aspects of sports. So you can definitely check me out there.
Great. All right, Brian, what are you working on and where can people find you online?
I'm working on quite a bit, actually. The 2K League is actually a primary focus of mine right now. On YouTube, I'm at Unique Mazique Sports and Gaming. And on Forbes, if you just search Forbes and my name, Brian Mazique, my writer profile will come up. This weekend, there's a Gennady Golovkin against Vanes Martirosyan fight that I'll be covering. So be on the lookout for pre-fight and post-fight coverage.
Thank you, Brian. And thanks to everyone who watched, commented, and shared the show. I'm Mandy Roman. Don't forget to like our Facebook page and watch Game Talk Live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific. We'll see you next time.